Hey guys, I just wanted to shoot a quick update video for you. I know it's been a couple of weeks, or it's probably been about a month now since I made a video, and I've had some people reaching out to me asking me what's going on with the project and do I have any more content coming out and so forth. And so I just wanted to shoot a quick video today to catch you up on where I'm at with things, so you know I didn't disappear. So let me flip the camera around here and we'll talk about what's happening. Okay, so the transmission is here. I don't know if it made it in the last video, but I did notch it for the starter clearance. I think that made it in the last video. So it's physically ready to be mounted in the car. I had to modify, or just grind these off. I'll clean this up a little more. And had to take out the overflow tube right here and then clearance that a touch, and right there. Got the rear trans mount on there. So the transmission is physically ready to go back in the car, and it does fit just fine in the tunnel. Keep in mind my tunnel was previously clearanced for 4L80E, so if you're starting with a Virgin 240 S13 chassis, you're going to have to do a lot of clearancing to fit this. It's no big deal, you just got to grab a hammer and get after it. So anyway, also I verified also that I can reach the converter bolts with the trans in the car. There's just enough clearance to reach in here and thread them through this access. So this actually serves as access for the converter bolts and clearance for the snout of the starter. So that kind of worked out as a dual function mod there and worked out pretty good. So I think that's everything to say about that. So the main project right now is to build the wiring harness, which I've got going on right here, and I'm doing a video on that, so that'll be a separate video. I ran into a snag with my wiring gauge being too big. On the HTG ECU, you can fit a larger gauge wire over here on the right side. On these 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, on those 8 pins over there, you can fit this 20 gauge wire. But I didn't realize that the holes over here were so much smaller that you physically can't even fit the wiring sheathing through these little bitty holes. So I had to stop and order new wire. I think this is 22 gauge. I can't remember. Doesn't say anywhere on there, but it'll be in the wiring video. But yeah, I had to stop and order smaller gauge wiring, and that set me back a little bit waiting on that to come in, and then I had to order new ferrules or pins or whatever these are called. And that set me back a little bit, and then just kind of lost some motivation and got busy. Cleaning and reorganizing the entire shop was absolutely filthy. I gutted everything and spent all Saturday and Sunday literally just cleaning surfaces and dust and dirt and spiders, and every single thing in here was disgusting. So I've been busy with that and other projects on the house, and just put the old car on the back burner for a little bit. And frankly, I just lost a lot of motivation to work on her, which sometimes happens. You guys can relate to that. Sometimes you're on fire and you're going crazy, and sometimes you don't even want to go in the garage. So I had a little bit of that going on. And then this weekend, while I was cleaning the shop, I noticed that my lift, I was literally cleaning the lift, which I had never done before. I had a rag and some spray cleaner, and I was wiping it down and getting all the oil and dirt off. And I walked over here, and I started cleaning this, and I'm like, that's not supposed to be that way. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out what the heck happened, and it turns out that this cylinder right here completely unscrewed itself over time, and it unthreaded itself and came out. So this whole side of the car is only being held up by one piston instead of two, and of course now it's on the lock right here, so it's physically safe and won't come down. But yeah, who knows how long that's been going on, because you can see the mark here, the circular mark where that piston comes up and touches that. So who knows how long it's been sitting there like that. So now I have to get the car off the lift, which turned into its own project, which I haven't even accomplished yet, just so that I can disassemble this whole thing here. These threads are really screwed up. They look better now because I filed them, but they were much worse before I filed them, but they're still not good enough. So I've got to clean those threads up and disassemble all of this so that I can thread that guy back in. I've got to it's a process. It's probably going to be a mess of hydraulic fluid. And I've never even worked on anything like this in my life, and honestly it freaks me out to work on this thing because it's so heavy. And I'm talking when the car's not even on the lift. This thing is phenomenally heavy. These dudes are 1,000 pounds per side. 1,000 pounds, 1,000 pounds. So just working on this thing, it literally just makes me nervous, because you do one thing wrong and it comes down, you're going to lose a hand, a foot, something. I don't know. I'm just freaked out. Then, while trying to figure out what the heck's going on over here, I heard this really loud bang, clang, 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 clang over here in the corner of the shop, and I'm like, what the heck just fell? And so I come over here, and it was obviously a metal on metal sound, and so I could tell immediately something happened inside the lift cabinet, and I could not figure out what it was. There was nothing on the ground. There was nothing up here that could have fallen on it. There was nothing. So I get to looking around inside here, and I find this brown cap just sitting there. I find this thing just sitting there in the cabinet, just chilling. What does that look like? Push to lock. I could not figure out for the life of me where that went inside the lift cabinet. Just couldn't tell at all. Well, eventually I figured it out. It was actually the next day. I was looking around, and I found out that the air pressure regulator inside that cabinet that controls the airlocks on this thing literally just exploded. Randomly, just while sitting there working on something else, it decides to randomly just explode. And the spring, basically this guy goes on here, and the spring is inside, and then there's this screw, and yeah, this cap physically exploded off of here, and the spring came out and the screw came out, and it's really hard to see, but it is actually broken plastic in there. So that was totally weird, sitting here working on this failure, and another random failure happens at the same time. It was strange. So I do have a plan to get it down. I've got a new regulator coming in today, so I'm going to put the new regulator in. That'll allow me to blow the airlocks open. Then I'm going to lower the car just like it is. I'm going to rotate that threaded section around so it doesn't get destroyed. Lower the car just like it is, and then remove the car off the lift. Then, since it's lowered, all the fluid will be out of here and back into the reservoir right there. So since all the fluid's mostly out of here, I'm going to then crack these two lines right here open, and then I'm going to use my engine hoist, my cherry picker. I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to, with straps, wrap around this platform, and I'm going to manually lift that platform out of the ground as high as I can get it. And so at that point, there's no fluid in these cylinders, and then that should allow me to grab a hold of that center cylinder there and just pull it up, and then it does twist, and so I can just thread it back on there after I've repaired the threads. That's the hope, that's the plan, that's the goal. So anyway, those kinds of things have been holding me back, combined with my lack of motivation and other projects. So I just wanted you guys to know that I'm still working on stuff. It is all coming together. All the parts are here. The HTG ECU or GCU is right there. The shifter is up in the car. The adapter plate is on the engine. I have all the bolts and hardware I need to mount the trans to the engine now. The cross member's done. So it's actually pretty close. I just need to have a shop make me a drive shaft. I need to finish the wire harness and then plug it in and start running some diagnostics tests and make sure the valves are doing what they're supposed to do. And then really it's time to just drive the car at that point, put fluid in it and drive it. So technically we're not that far away, but it just comes down to how much time I have to work on it and how quickly I do that work. So it's coming. So that's the update for now. I will have the wiring video up pretty soon. It'll probably be like next week. I'm going to be gone all weekend. So wiring video is coming next, and then after that it will be literally me putting it in the car, and while somebody's building the drive shaft, I will be working on the diagnostics, making sure it's electrically connected right and connecting to the laptop. So those are the things that are coming, and that's it for today's video. I just wanted to do that update so you guys have an idea of what's happening. I know some of you guys are really excited about this swap, and I appreciate that. I am very excited too. I cannot wait to be ripping this thing with 600, 700, 800 horsepower and pulling that shifter, bam, bam, bam. It's going to be awesome. And so anyway, stick with me and subscribe to the channel if you want to follow the progress. Ask me questions down below in the comments. I always reply to everybody down there. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you soon.